Weekend World.
Weekend World. It's Weekend World. I thought it was going to be the Sex Pistols. Steve Jones is joining us now, who is a Chelsea fan, but obviously he's more well known for being the lead guitarist in the Sex Pistols. And if you're into music, he's got one of the greatest music radio shows in the world, which is Jonesy Jukebox. Good evening, Steve.
How are you?
You're right. This is James, and Andy's here as well.
All right, Steve.
You pleased with the result today?
Well pleased. Obviously, a bit of a time difference here. It was like on at 4:30, I think. The only, sometimes I wake up and watch it in bed, but I didn't even bother because I know, like, when I start watching them games, I fall a kip like 10 minutes later. But I was well chuffed with the result when I woke up at like 6 in the morning. So
did you watch it over breakfast, or have you not seen it?
I saw the highlights afterwards, and it looked like pretty good game. I'm going to watch it. I saw the little scuffle at the end. I'm gonna watch it actually when I get off the phone with you. I wouldn't bother watching it if they lost, but when they win, I don't mind watching it again.
Right, let's talk about your book, because I've been reading it all this week, and it's a very fun. I mean, it's a very moving book because you're very honest about a lot of things in your life, but it's a very, very funny book. And did you set out to be like that, or is it just because it's being like you are naturally?
No, I think anyone who knows me knows that's, I'm always the clown. Always want to have a laugh. I'm not too serious, even if some of the stuff in it's pretty grim. I'm at a stage now where even that's kind of funny, in a way. I'm always the clown. So now, James knows that.
Yeah,
James.
I'm just up to the bit where you have described going to Elvis's grave.
Yeah.
And you kind of sort of admit that you
had a lag on his thing.
Somebody desecrated his grave in your party.
Well, it was a number one, not a number two.
Yeah, well, that's how he ends it. That's how he ends it. He spends a whole chapter saying, yeah, maybe or may not have had a wee on Elvis's grave. And the very last line is, well, at least it didn't do anything worse on it.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
But not in the eyes. Did you enjoy writing it? I know you worked on it with a sort of an interviewer, but was it a laugh doing it? Was it emotional? Was it upsetting? Did he have to prompt a lot of the stuff?
Like I said, I mean, a lot of this stuff. It wasn't like I discovered it as I'm talking about it with the book. I knew all the stuff that was going on prior. Yeah. But it is as far as was it being difficult? I did a lot of it on Skype. A lot of hours on Skype because the bloke who wrote it, Ben Thompson, lives in England. He came out here for a weekend. We hung out for a couple of days, and then the rest. Then he went back, and the rest of it was Skype over about 4 or 5 months. I think three times a week.
Yeah. What's your favourite? Did you have a favourite period when you realised when you'd gone back over your whole life? Because obviously most people know you for the Pistols, but I particularly really like reading about your childhood.
Yeah, I think. I enjoyed being a teenager. Yeah. With some of my mates, Cookie, couple of other guys, and just doing the King's Road, getting drunk, and the Faces, Bowie. That was like the best time in my life when I discovered booze and it worked, and getting laid. That was definitely by far the best part of my life.
Was there a time, Steve, when in the Sex Pistols where you start to think it was starting to get out of control and it was all starting to go a bit wrong?
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
is there any particular moment or any incident that?
I think when we went to maybe a little bit before we went to the USA, but all that USA was a bit of a nightmare, and a little bit before it was basically when Sid, God bless him, joined, and that Bird, it all went kind of, the dynamics completely changed, and the exposure, it all happened. The Grundy thing, it was just too much for any 22-year-old bunch of guys.
Did you think it was? Did you think it was ever going to go like that? Because you were, Kenneth Tynan had said the F word famously in the 60s or something in a review, but you were front page news for swearing on a regional, the sort of local London news thing. But did you ever think it was going to get to a point where you were like public enemy #1, and they banned you from being #1 in the charts, and people were attacking other members of the bands in the street and so on?
Well, I think that's all good. I mean, you
think it was good that all that happened?
It's exciting,
yeah.
all that stuff, and that's what rock and roll should be like. I think it's a bit dull now. Nothing like that happens anymore, which is I'm just glad I was a part of it. I mean, at the time it was a bit scary, when you got some royalists wanting to do you because you wrote a song called "God Save the Queen." But
have you got? I mean, you were very open about the fact that you were a prolific thief.
Yeah.
And weirdly, you sort of used to nick a lot of stuff off your heroes. Going in and out of the back of their gigs, and a couple of times going around people's houses and stuff. But rock stars in southwest London. Have you still got any of that stuff?
No, nothing. No.
Has anyone ever asked?
I wish I would have kept Bowie's microphone from Hammersmith Odeon, a little Electra voice that had his lipstick on the end of it. I wish I would have still had that.
Has anyone ever asked, because you nick stuff from David Bowie, Roxy Music, Rolling Stones?
I think the only one I'm going to have to get a phone call from probably is Ariel Bender.
Yeah.
I think that's on the cards. I actually made amends to Woody Woodmansey, the drummer from the Spiders. He came on my show a couple of months ago. And I told him that I nicked his cymbals, and he was, and I gave him a couple of $100, and he was made up.
He was all right with that. Made amends. Steve, I was recently watching the DVD of the Reformation tour that you did 2007, the Brixton Academy show, and the reaction from the crowd when you started with Pretty Vacant was insane. How did that whole sort of reforming thing feel at the time?
Well, we did. We got back in '96. That was the first time we got back together since we broke up in '78. But we hadn't really played together a lot. I thought they were great, them gigs at Brixton, and then we did Manchester, and then we did a gig in Scotland. They were really good shows. But now I just have no interest in doing that anymore, to be honest with you.
Been there, done that. No need to do it again.
Unless the paycheck was a lot of...
What struck me is I DJ'd at that gig you did in Finsbury Park, in the park itself, which I think was the first gig back in... I think it was the first gig back in Britain when you did that, when you reformed.
Sure.
And what struck me was you probably played to more people in that show than you'd ever played.
But in all our gigs' entirety, yeah.
Yeah, because anybody who's... I mean, obviously the older listeners will know about the impact the band had, but anyone kind of younger... You were banned all over the country, weren't you? You would show up and you couldn't do the gigs because the council or the police thought you were going to, like... I don't know what they thought. You were going to swear or create havoc.
I don't know what they do. It was cut heads of rats off or something. I don't know.
Now, tell us about your life now, because you've got Jonesy's Jukebox, which is... You have quite an eclectic mix of music. The first one, my mate who was living in LA, so he got in touch with me and he said, "You've got to listen to Steve Jones's radio show." You were playing Benny Hill.
Yeah.
And I think you played it more than once at the time. So tell us about how did that come about? And you've been through 2 or 3 different stations, but it's massively popular. All the musicians want to be on Jonesy's Jukebox.
Yeah, the new one is on KLOS 95.5, which is like the classic rock station. It's been around forever here. And I've been doing it a year now, literally a year this month. And I don't know, I can't... well, actually, I could play Benny Hill if I wanted to at this stage of the game, because they'll let me just do what I want now, because I guess the ratings are doing okay, and it's giving them a bit of swagger, the station, that it desperately needed. So, I like doing it. As long as I can do what I want to do, then I couldn't just be a regular mush just in the midst of someone else's playlist. I have to kind of it has to be fun for me in order to want to do it. But I like interviewing. That's what I like doing more than anything.
Who have you interviewed sort of that sort of left more of an impression than anybody else? Anybody in particular?
In the last year, in general? I mean, in general, Cliff Richard I thought was good. That was a few years back.
Cliff, you interviewed Cliff Richard?
Yeah, and we jammed together. It was so much fun.
Cliff or Keith?
No, Cliff.
Come on.
He was great. He was brilliant.
Okay.
He was brilliant. I know he's uncool and all that, but he was brilliant.
How did that come about then?
You know what? I ran into him in a restaurant in LA, and I went up to him. I said, "Listen, I've got a radio show here. Do you want to come on?" And I gave him my number. A couple of months later, some bird called me and said he wants to come on. He was in LA. He was going to New York to do a showcase. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
Geezer never quits. He's still trying to, crack it in America.
Unbelievable. I'm a bit shocked there. Now, one of the things that really surprised me in the book is you say at one point that you'd give a great description of what it felt like at the end of the Sex Pistols, saying that Sid dying was the very last, obviously the thing that you knew it wasn't, they weren't going to go on in any way or form. But you talk a little bit about how even though you're glad it was over because of the tension in the band had stopped being creative and it'd become a pain, but you would, it's like a relationship. You didn't want to be in it, but you miss it being there. And you do admit that you did a few gigs with the Clash and you'd like to have joined the Clash.
Yeah, only because it was a different set of dynamics where it looked like they were having more fun, but I'm sure it would have been the same stuff. I don't know that for sure, but I know Mick Jones and Joe Strummer, they used to hate each other too. So I think you're always looking for the grass is always greener.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have minded doing that actually, but I was on the path of being a complete mess at the time, so I don't know how long that would have lasted, to be honest with you.
Another thing that's frequent, certainly through the first half of the book, is how much joyriding and car stealing, and you did. When did you get your past your driving licence?
I didn't get it in England. I never took my test in England. It looked way too complicated. Cookie did it, but he's intelligent like that. It's not like it is here in LA or in America. You literally go around the block and that's it. You're passed. It used to terrify me in England that you have to do all the lessons, and it just seemed like I didn't even bother. So that's why I didn't bother. And I never got pulled, nicked for not having a license. Funny enough,
it's even harder now, Steve. They make you do a written test and everything. It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
Well, Andy, what happens?
I do it now because I've got a bit more patience, but back then, forget it. I mean, I never had anything back then, anything of document, bank account, anything.
Is there anything else that you feel like you want to achieve, Steve? Any more ambitions that you've got?
I don't know. It's a tough one. Nothing that I lie in bed at night thinking, I'd like to do that. Other than, really, to be honest with you, all I want to do is to move up to Northern California and live in the woods, right, and be around nature. I'm done with city life and
all
the rest of it. I'm 61 now. Saying that, that's a good fantasy. I might go up there and want to kill myself after 2 months.
Because Trump's America.
Yeah, what did you make of that, of Donald Trump getting elected?
It's a weird one. It was a weird one. I mean, I'm trying to keep the positive that he's going to do a good job. Everyone's, especially in California. It was a weird one. It was one of them weird elections where normally people put their sign outside their house who they're voting for, and no one did that in California, not for her or not for him. It was very everyone was keeping it quiet who they were going to vote for. It's very hateful. It's very hateful in America right now. Everyone's got the and it's just like a lot of hate. It's very, very strange time. I don't know what it's like in England with all that Brexit stuff.
It's the same.
I think it's no accident that Brexit happened and Trump happened. I don't think it's any accident whatsoever.
Right, on that positive note, just one more thing. Are you going to make any more music yourself?
I might do some. I got a lot of tunes, half-finished tunes. I might do some mellow stuff. I'll probably do something just to be creative. But I like me Instagram. I like doing my silly videos.
Yeah, they're hilarious. What is your Instagram if people want to follow you?
It's Jonesy's Jukebox.
Yeah, and you do films every week.
Every time I get a little urge to do something stupid, I'll dress up and put it on there. Yeah,
they're very funny. Well, listen, Steve, we've got to wrap up now. But I've been reading the book all week, and it's brilliant. It's making me laugh so much. And of course, the fans of the Pistols will find the inside track from your point of view fascinating. But it is an absolutely great read. So look, thanks for coming on the show, and we'll make sure the listeners check out Jonesy's Jukebox after they've finished listening to us.
Okay, buddy. Don't forget. Tell them the name of the book.
It's called
Lonely Boy.
Yeah, it's called Lonely Boy by Steve Jones, and it's a great read.
All right, mate. All right. I appreciate it.
See you later. Thanks very much for coming
Steve.
on.
Cheers.
See you later.
That was an actual Sex Pistol, and this is Talksport. Did we or did we not ask for that one to be deleted from the list?
Quite liked it tonight.
Oh,
I didn't mind it.
Man About the House.
You look quite excited when we finished that interview, like sort of a bit amazed, weren't you?
Yeah,
it's a strange thing. It's a strange thing, isn't it? Because you and I are both on the wrong side of 30 by some distance, right? So one of the things that as you get older, you find you just explaining to people who who are kind of half your age about great films, great bands, great footballers, and you sort of think that maybe they don't believe you, or they do believe you. And obviously nowadays you can go and look at a band or listen to them online, or you can watch a bit of ancient footage of a footballer. But it was, if you read Jonesy's book Lonely Boy, you get a sense of how absolutely nuts it was.
Yeah, because it was more than just the music. It was the entire. It just shook the establishment, didn't it?
It was they banned them from being number one.
Yeah,
there was just a gap in the charts.
Rod Stewart was given number one,
Sailing.
wasn't he? Sailing, yeah.
They banned, what he reveals in his book is they banned they banned sales from shops that were related to record labels.
Right.
Which meant Virgin's, because the record was on Virgin. This is God Save the Queen. They banned the returns from there.
Right.
So
to fiddle it,
which was a big chain at the time, a big record chain. But it's a honestly, Andy, you would love it. It's a very, very.
I'm going to get a copy.
It's a sad book. We didn't talk about that, but he talks about being like sexually harassed. Like
he went into care, didn't he? He was in care.
Yeah, he was in and out of care all the time, but he was sexually abused by his stepfather, and but obviously that's not funny. But a lot of the. Goes without saying, really, but a lot of the stuff that he's just talking about his life and his attitude, it's very, very funny.
Yeah, definitely going to get a copy.
So you've got your one-off moments of glory.
Yeah, we asked earlier on those one-off moments of glory that have just sort of lit up your life.
You had your petrol tank
landing it on a tenner. I still dream about that.
When we're going home after the show, I'm prepared to let you try that again on my car.
Too much pressure. I'll have a go, but.
Just a tenner. I won't expect any more from you.
Well, I'll have another couple of cans as we go on, because it'll be like darts and pool. The more you have to drink, the better your aim is.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think it is. It is with me anyway. A couple of these moments of glory. On Twitter, Hoskus said, hugely ambitious parking in a spot approximately 4 inches bigger than the car outside a busy pub one summer's evening. I reversed in, straightened up, bish, swear word, bosh. Casual.
Nathan O'Hagan, dear at TS Late Tackle, read your moments of glory. The school bully attempted a karate kick on me. I grabbed his leg and dragged him across the assembly hall floor, knocking over chairs, etc. He sought revenge a few days later on the street. I did the same again, him doing a comical hop before eventually hitting the floor.
one from Mark Machado, who I believe works here in this building. He said, charming the girl in KFC to give me an extra piece of chicken in my family bucket. My greatest achievement ever.
This is another one from Andy the Butts on Twitter. He says, I kissed a very young actress in the United States in 1987 at a party. You may have heard of her, Julia Roberts.
Oof. Wow. 1987.
I think that's
just
true.
Before, I don't know. That could be one for our lies category, couldn't it?
Well, no, I mean, it's
a big one.
It's either it's a good truth or it's a poor lie.
Yeah. I'm going to go truth on that one, I think.
Yeah, I'll go truth on that. But definitely. I wonder, that could be a good category. Things you did with famous people before they were... People you did with people... Things you did...
With celebs.
Or with anyone before their status changed.
Yeah. There's another school-related one. Linus RLL says, I threw my school bag at my brother as he ran past, knocking me down. Got him in the back of the knees. He went down like he was shot. And Mick the Hood says, I got the Sun to print one of my texts they thought was by Brian McFadden, cheering on his then wife, Kerry Katona, on I'm a Celebrity. That's not bad. You're not going to repeat that again, are you?
No.
So have a look at the polls that we're doing.
Yeah. What's going on with the head-to-head Curry and Indian?
We've got Indian versus Chinese. What's the best takeaway? And
what did I say? Curry
you said
Indian.
Curry and Indian.
Chinese
and Indian. At the moment, 55% of you say Indian, 45% say Chinese, but you've still got about 55 minutes left to reverse that result if you are a Chinese fanatic.
There's more Indians than Chinese in food in England and Scotland and Wales.
What would you predict the result would have been on that then? Would you said 55-45? Because that's the Scottish independence vote, isn't it?
Well, where I live, there's more Indians than Chinese.
Right.
In the restaurants.
This could get complicated.
Yeah, but everywhere I've ever lived, apart from, if you lived in Chinatown in Manchester or London, wherever they've got one, then obviously you're going to be nearer more Chinese.
Well, let's just see what happens, eh? This is the Late Tackle on Talksport. Again, second hour of the Late Tackle on Talksport with me, Andy Dawson.
Me, James Brown.
And coming up in the next hour, we've got... I'm going to be looking at a football-related piece of television history. We're going to have an interview with a fella who likes to race motorbikes around in the desert.
Mexican deserts.
The Mexican deserts.
Lawless, he says.
Intriguing.
And we've got Ian, obviously, who's the Das Boot.
Das Boot. Because... Why is it called Das Boot?
Because he's at the car boot sale in Germany.
He does car boot sales in Germany for us once a week, and I think he's on the line now, actually. Good evening, Ian.
Hi, Andy. Hi, James.
Evening, Ian. How are you?
I'm good. I'm actually in England this week, I'm afraid. I have to come back for various
Matt,
reasons.
get rid of him.
And where have you been car booting?
Well, the report I'm doing tonight, I was thinking, because I'm back, because car boots in England tend to be on Sunday. And your show's on Saturday night, so it's not good. But one of the things I've been thinking about quite a lot is the difference between English and German car boots. Because now I'm an expert in German car boots.
Yeah,
I can give a thorough report on what I think are the three main differences. So that's the stuff I've been tweeting, and that was what I was going to talk about. The things that I've found.
Ian,
go on.
Can I just ask you, when you go to the German car boot sales, the flea markets, whatever they call them, do you ever have to pay to get in?
No, you never.
What about in England?
Yeah, there's a couple you do. My local one, which is the best one, my favourite one.
Yeah. Because what you want to do is, if you want, we'll write a letter on Talksport edit notepaper saying you are the official car boot correspondent for the Saturday night show, the Late Tackle, on Talksport. And it'll probably save you like £4 or something.
Yeah, it could do, but it's free though in Germany. But I have dropped your name a couple of times, sort of.
To the Germans?
Well, because I've been buying things really ridiculously, and they kind of say, "Why are you buying this?" and some of the stuff isn't that funny actually. I bought a load of letters from the Second World War, And the bloke said, "Why are you buying all these?" And thinking I was a dealer. And I said, "No, I'm going to talk about them on the radio." But I said I haven't spoken about them yet. I'm saving that one for later. In England, yeah, live in England. And last week I met a woman and took a photo of her, and she was, I think, on my blog last week when I was talking about stuff. So it's, yeah. You're becoming quite well known on the flea market scene in Bavaria.
Can I just ask, are these Second World War letters? Are they letters from German soldiers back to their families?
I don't know yet. That's why I haven't spoken about it, because I haven't translated it. But everything was censored, so I think they probably were. The bloke that's selling me them told me that's what they were. But that doesn't mean you find loads of that stuff, which I was going to talk about, but I don't really.
Okay, let's go.
It's not funny.
Ian, let's get on to.
It doesn't need to be funny.
If you are listening now, and hopefully. Well, I guess you wouldn't hear me saying it if you're not. But if you want to, give it weird. But if you want to listen to if you want to see what Ian's going to be talking about